Hello my lovelies and welcome to my channel. My name is Josie and today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I read in March. I read 7 books, which may not seem like a lot, but I think is pretty good. There were some highs, there were some lows, there were some S. So without further ado, let's just get right on into it, shall we? The first book that I read this month was Before the Coffee Gets Cold by, I'm gonna get this wrong, Toshikazu Kawagucki. This book is everything that comfort is to me. I adored this book. It's set in a cafe in Japan where there is a specific seat, and if you sit in this seat you have the ability to traverse time. It was so lovely. I cannot begin to describe just the feelings of comfort that you feel. There's 4 different storylines and all of the people in all the storylines intersect with one another, and you just feel so much attachment to them. I want to recommend this book to everyone I possibly can. It made me cry, although to be fair, it may actually be quite easy to make me cry. But I did cry during the last kind of storyline. I think this book truly kind of personified grief and love and family and friendship and all of those things so well in such a short book. I think that you could probably read this book in a day if you worked hard. I'm not a very fast reader, so this took me maybe half a week, but I adored it. 5 out of 5. Read it. You will not be disappointed. I promise. So, next one from this, I read, if I can find it, I read The White Book by Kang. I can't say her name, sorry. I picked this book up because I really liked one of her other books, The Vegetarian. I didn't really read up on what this book was, which I think is my fault because it's very, very different from The Vegetarian. I think this is more so described as a meditation on colour, and I would agree with that. It honestly, it lists things that are the colour white, and Kang pretty much just speaks on whatever comes to her mind on this specific white thing. Sometimes it's really poetic, sometimes it's really just alright. There's some photography that's splashed throughout the book. I find it hard to be able to review this particular book, just because I don't think I have that much of an artistic mind. I think if I did, I might have more to say on it, but it's very different from anything that I've ever read before. So I don't really, I don't want to give it a positive or a negative review because I just don't think it was for me. If you are interested in it, go ahead, give it a try. But yeah, I'm more interested in narratives, and that this is not that. After I read this, I went on to read Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. This cover, I think I saw, who did I see reading it? I think I saw Jack Edwards read this book, and he really liked it, and so I was really excited because I love mythological retellings. I think they're so much fun, especially since I've always had such an interest in all types of mythology, not just Greek. I was really excited to read this book, and I thought I would love it because I think a lot of Jack Edwards' recommendations I do actually quite enjoy. This, however, I didn't like, which is weird because I don't think I've seen anybody have a very negative review on this book, which is sad. I just had a few issues with it. One of them being that I think the author just ties pregnancy and motherhood and child rearing as a really important part of femininity and womanhood, which I do not agree with. And because she made the two sisters, Ariadne and Phaedra, to be the two kind of main characters within this book, I think she really failed. I just didn't care for either of them. My caveat is that I don't have to like the characters that I'm reading about, but I have to care about them. And I didn't care about them at all. I thought Ariadne was a little bitch, and I thought Phaedra was fucking annoying, which is terrible, which makes me not care about them. I also really hated how Phaedra was actually portrayed in this book, because, and I think this is part of the issue why I didn't really like this book, was because I do very well know the mythological stories that are being told within this book. So I think Phaedra and how she was portrayed in this book did not do her justice at all. Instead of making it obvious that Phaedra was a victim of the gods, they made her look like a fool. And I hated that, because within the myth, the story goes out of its way to say that Phaedra was a victim of Aphrodite. So I hated that. And yeah, I know all of the original mythological stories that were portrayed in this book, and that made me see holes in this, because there were some things that just didn't line up with the original myths or the original gods. I don't want to go into it too much because I think that's going to spoiler territory, but if you are interested in knowing a bit more, if you've read this book and you're interested in knowing a bit more about the original myths, I will link below some videos from a YouTube channel called Overly Sarcastic Productions, who have some really fun educational videos on Dionysus and the Theseus and the Minotaur myth, and Phaedra's myth as well. So I'll link those in the description, and I definitely suggest you watch them because they're very good. But as for this book, I didn't love it. Maybe like a 3-star, I think, unfortunately, which is such a bummer because like this book is so beautiful. This cover is just gorgeous, and I was so upset. After I read this book, I went on to read Untold Night and Day by Bae Suah. Bae Suah. I'm sorry, I'm terrible at names. This is a book that I think a lot of people have trouble kind of saying what the synopsis is for this. I think I can't even do it either. I can't tell you exactly what this book is about. Just know that I loved it. It is disorienting, interesting. The writing is fantastic. Whoever translated this book, let me check. Deborah Smith. She did a fantastic job at translating this book, because the poeticisms that are still in this book that have been able to be traversed from Korean into English so well, she did an absolutely amazing job. And the motifs that are strewn throughout this book are absolutely fantastic. Near the beginning of the book, there is a whole kind of page dedicated to describing humidity, and I was like, this is insane, and it is so good. I cannot recommend this book enough. It is fantastic. I will say that this is a book that you have to really be focused on. You can't really just let it flow over you. I think you need to really focus, because this book is so topsy-turvy that I think if you aren't paying attention, you will miss things. It is the only way that I can describe it is wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff, and it's crazy and it's amazing, and the translator did such an amazing job. The author obviously has immaculate writing. Beautiful, fantastic, loved it, read it, just amazing. So after I read this, I went on to read Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. This is a very, very old copy that I had when, I think I got when I was quite young. When was this book printed? Because I did get it ages ago. 2008. This is a 2008 version, so I think I was 12 when it got, which is funny because Percy Jackson is 12 in this book. I loved it. This was a reread for me. I read it when I was a kid. I wanted to reread it because of the new Percy Jackson series that is I think it's currently being produced. I don't think it's in filming yet, but it is happening, and I'm super excited about it because I was very, very disappointed in the films, which is really upsetting. I was so excited for it, but it just didn't live up to expectations way back in the day. So I'm very excited to see what happens with the series. So I wanted to start rereading the series. I'm gonna do it slowly, maybe one book a month, and I'll see how I go. But I have nothing negative to say about this book. I've always loved it. It's such a nostalgic hit for me. I truly am so blessed to have had this book in my childhood, because I think the series is very diverse. I wouldn't say this book in particular is overtly diverse, apart from Grover, and you know, there's a lot of ADHD, dyslexia kind of representation, which is so cool. I love it. If you've never read Percy Jackson, you should, because it's fun. It's just fun, and like, it's an easy read. It's a kid's book. So much fun. I just had so much joy rereading this because it's been so long. Just super happy. This made me happy. And I think, what book did I read after this one? Let me see. I read Luster by Raven Leilani. This was also a book that was recommended by Jack Edwards, along the lines, I think. I adored this, truly. I think that this is very much a character study. Not much actually happens in the book, but you start to really understand the main character, Edie, who we are reading through her point of view. It's very much a stream of consciousness kind of thing, and her kind of comments and how she thinks is very, very likable. I was really interested in how she thought and how she kind of navigated her way through life. And I think it's just like such a relatable thing of a 23-year-old girl not knowing what the fuck is happening, which is true, because I'm not 23 years old, I'm a bit older than that, but I don't know what the hell is happening either. I don't know. And this kind of makes you feel seen. And I think it also really put into perspective issues regarding race, because in the story, I don't want to give too much away, but in the story there is a married couple who has a black adopted daughter. They are both white, the daughter is black, and nobody knows how to do her hair, which is a massive failing. And Edie ends up being the one to help her with her hair. I think it's got amazing commentary on race, on familial ties, on marriage, on youth, and I very much loved this story, and I think you should read it. I think this Raven Leilani, I think this is actually her debut novel, and I will most definitely be picking up other things that she writes along the way, because I very much enjoyed the writing in this. I thought it was wonderful, and while entertaining, also had really important things to say. So this was a really good read. Now, when I finished this, I went on to start Frankenstein. I don't know if you can see yes, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I have not finished this yet, but it is not yet the end of March when I'm filming this, so I'm counting it in the books that I've read in March, so sorry about it. I'm like halfway through. I love it. I've seen like the old-timey movie of this, but I've never read the book, so this is super fun. Although I will say, screw Victor. What, you're gonna reanimate and bring to life literally bits and pieces of animal and man, and then you're just gonna ditch it because you're like, oh, but like this isn't what I wanted. You're a dick. You're a dick. Such an interesting thing, right? Is that I think humans have this innate need to constantly know things. And obviously Victor in the story is absolutely just trying to gain knowledge on death and life and all of those things. And then he believes that he failed when he brought literally bits and pieces of dead things to life. It made me mad, but I will get through it, and I will probably very much enjoy it because I'm enjoying it now. The thing about classic novels is that it's always going to be a difficult experience just because of the old-timey writing, but it's a little bit harder to get through, but there's always a benefit because they are original stories. Although some classics that other people love, I've hated, of Mice and Men. So I'm currently enjoying it, which is good. Okay, so that is every book that I read in March, or am reading. Caveats, you know. Let me know if any of these books interest you, if you've read any of them, and what are your thoughts on them. I'll leave some of my social media links below, anything I've mentioned throughout the video below in the description. Like and subscribe if you so choose. Have a good day, good evening, a good night, whatever. Bye bye.